Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome to the Wilderness Podcast. This is Trey again. We're doing another one of these takeovers. The last time we did one, it was a time when Dills was super busy, and we didn't want to, go a month or two without recording. And so the Coliseum had just come out, and I talked to Dakota, and that was it. It was so much fun that we decided I wanted to do more of them. And the problem is then I got busy. So it's been a few months since then. But yes, here for another one. I really hoped that, that last episode I had this, I mentioned Dills wasn't here because of the eclipse, and that aged very poorly because it took us like a month to get that episode out. And then we were going to do this whole running gag with future episodes where he joined a cult, and it was going to be a whole running storyline. But then once again, it took forever to get the episodes out. So I'll say this time that Dills, for some reason, even though he's Canadian, was celebrating 4th of July and blew his hand up and is hospitalized. And that's why he's not able to be here. But anyways, yeah, so I have found, I've been messaging all kinds of people in our clan and just so many interesting people to talk to. And today I have with me what I think of as kind of the vice president of the Wilderness clan. He's known for being the only person that still uses light mode on all of his devices. The screenshots will blind you. And he's also known, and what I'm specifically wanting to talk to him about is having the second largest army of accounts next to Dills. So welcome to the podcast, Drfeelgood.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Oh, it's been kind of fun scheduling this because obviously you're across the pond, so there's a 6-hour difference between us. But luckily, you're a night owl and I'm a morning person, so it wasn't really that bad. But the hardest part has been figuring out, we were just talking before we recorded about how both the United States and the UK have different like daylight savings. And we're not sure, we're not 100% sure if they start at the same time or not. And apparently the United States is potentially doing away with daylight savings. So it's very confusing.
Yeah, I've just got no idea how it works, really. I just sort of go with the flow.
Yeah. But we were finally able to sync up a time to record. But yeah, so you just right off the top, if you know off the top of your head, how many different accounts have you made in your time playing RuneScape and RuneScape 3, classic, old school RuneScape?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, sort of like all the accounts I've got throughout my my RuneScape career, maybe like 10 or 11, something like that. But that does count for sort of RS3. I've made like hardcore Iron Men that have died. I've tried to make like PKing Pures and just like random accounts like that, really. But as far as the accounts that I play consistently, I think is my my 3 accounts. So I've got my main account, my Iron Man, and my UAM.
Nice. So taking it back, it's always kind of the obvious question to ask with RuneScape, but it's kind of, I feel the answer is always a little bit different for everybody. But what was kind of your origin story? Did you play all the way back in the day? It sounds like you did.
Yeah, so my older brother was really into RuneScape and played it. And he used to let me play on his account, but only if I did sort of like an hour of thieving, or an hour of agility, of an hour of something that he didn't want to do. So if I did that, then I was allowed to run around and do the things that I wanted to do. So I used to go to like really low level wilderness and kill skeletons and things like that. I used to run and kill the dark wizards just south of Varrock, and I used to really enjoy that. And just like all the really newbie things that you hear about people doing.
Were you like a degenerate? Were you scamming people?
Oh God! Well, there's the. Are you aware of the voice note that I sent in maybe like 6 months ago, telling about my scamming story?
Oh, I don't remember. Refresh me.
Oh God. Okay, so I was at like a, I don't even know what you'd call them, just like an amusement park sort of thing. That's down in England. And for some reason, they've got like a big computer room in there. So you've got all the kids like running around, going on slides, doing all this fun stuff. And then you've just got loads of kids in the computer room just playing like flash games, going on the websites with all the funny pictures and stuff like that. And I used to sit in there and play RuneScape. And one time I was there and there was a guy next to me. And I saw he was playing RuneScape as well, and I thought, oh, fantastic! Like, let's meet up in game. Let's go and do something. And he came, and we sort of like met up in Varrock, and I saw he had, can't remember what armor it was. I think it was like it was adamant armor or something like that. Maybe he even had rune. And I used to fish lobsters and sell them, and I eventually saved up for full rune. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll take him into the wilderness and I'll kill him and I'll take all of his stuff. So not knowing anything about PKing, I just geared up in my full rune. I must have had like a rune longsword or something like that. And we went into the wilderness together, bearing in mind this kid's just like sat next to me, like in real life. And I'm just telling him, it's absolutely fine, we'll go and find someone, we'll go and kill them. And then as we get up there, I just turn around and I start attacking him. And I keep on saying next to him, I'm like, no, it's absolutely fine, absolutely fine. And then what does he do? But he pulls out a rune 2H and he just starts absolutely battering me. And he kills me. And of course, because I was skulled, he got all of my stuff. And I begged for it back, but he wouldn't give it back. And then I ran out of the computer room and I ran to my mum and I was like, Mum, this kid has just stolen all my stuff from RuneScape. And then my mum goes up to his mum and we all sort of like say what happened. And then I got in loads of trouble for being deceptive and the kid got to keep my stuff. Oh, so yeah, that is the one and only time that I thought about scamming someone.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always stayed away from that kind of stuff. I didn't even trade. I was saying yesterday in the clan, I'm like the OG Iron Man because I was too scared to trade anybody or have any kind of social interaction. I think it wasn't till like Tombs of a Mascot that I tried group content out, but I think that's really funny.
Yeah, this game's definitely got a way of giving you a healthy paranoia of other people.
I know. I cannot believe I fell for, like, I got my credit card hacked as an adult in this game, and like this is someone, a lifelong, like my whole life I've always said like, yeah, I've got a healthy fear of, like scammers and stuff because I grew up playing RuneScape. I can't believe I fell for it one time. But so did you, through all of, the RS2 and RS3, were you still sharing that account with your brother, or did you end up finally making your own account?
No, so I might have played on it for maybe a couple of months before I started my own account. I still used to play on his though because his computer didn't have parental controls on it, and I used to really like watching South Park. And he wouldn't let me use his computer unless I progressed his account. So I had to choose between progressing my own account or progressing his, but being able to watch South Park on the side. But no, I did. I started my original account, which is still the Drfeelgood that I play today. And yeah,
That's awesome. So what was the quitting moment? Were you EOC quitter, or was there something else?
yeah, I think it must have been EOC. Yeah, and then I must have still been interested or still like read about the game, because as soon as Old School was polled whether it should come into the game, I was like right on it, and I was checking updates all the time about it.
Yeah, that was so exciting.
Mm.
It's like, so were you were like day one of Old School?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Hell yeah. That was such a cool time. I could, like, you see those old school graphics and just, oh man, I'm trying to remember what the very first thing I did was.
I mean, it's got to be pickpocket a man in Lumbridge, surely. That's what everyone does, isn't it?
Or kill a goblin,
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so you started out on a main account on Old School. Well, yeah, because I guess Iron Man didn't exist back then.
Mm.
So when Iron Man was announced, were you immediately like, that's something I want to do?
I'm not sure, really. I don't think so. I'm thinking maybe because I had a couple of periods of like playing and then stopping playing for a year or so. It might have came out whilst I wasn't playing the game so much. So I think I was maybe I was interested in it. I sort of knew what it was, but no, I don't think I was a day one Iron Man.
Okay, so what inspired you to make an Iron Man? What was kind of your headspace when you eventually did do that?
I think maybe it was just sort of like the challenge of a new account. I really enjoy sort of the bigger the challenge in RuneScape, the more I enjoy it. So the idea that it was something that I had to collect all my own things and there was no trading with other players. I thought it was just like a really good challenge, and I wanted to try it. And I knew that once you got those drops, the dopamine would just be through the roof.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, how was that? I keep, I mean, it keeps coming up on this podcast, and I'm like a broken record, but I just keep asking myself, because, you're talking about the early game and I still don't have the answer to this, is of the Iron, like, am I having so much fun on my Iron Man because I'm an Iron Man, or am I having so much fun because I'm on a new account and I'm not, in game? I feel like I've been coming to the conclusion that it's just the end game kind of sucks no matter who you are. Like, just the endless raiding and iron or not. And I do think that the iron side of it does add a lot. So what was your iron experience? I mean, did you rush certain content, or were you like skilling?
Yeah, I try and because I'm sort of more PVM, interested in sort of PVM side of things. I basically just rush PVM early, and then I'll slowly chip away at the things I need. So, like, for example, when I started tobbing, I literally started tobbing with just like an RCB and a regular trident and like a whip. So just sort of like, as soon as I can get in there and start raiding, that's what I'll do. Sort of maybe hoping that I'll spoon a good drop early.
I am not as familiar with the kind of the timeline of events. What was, and I mean, if you don't remember, that's okay either. I'm trying to remember when Iron Man came out in relation to when Tob came out. Did you have a good amount of time with Tob before you had an Iron?
No, I don't think I did. I know Iron Man mode was a lot earlier than Tob. Tob was 2018, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Iron Man was way before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think maybe I had like a couple of 100 kc in it. But I don't think I was like, I don't think I was that decent. I don't think I'd hit hard mode yet before my Ironman started tobbing. And then I just sort of like flipped between my main and my iron, depending on what sort of content I wanted to do.
So was the rush to Tob, was that based more on that you enjoyed that content, or was it more, I mean, were you just wanting an Avernic for your account or to spoon a scythe?
Bit of both, really. As I said, I really enjoy the challenge. So I really enjoy just sort of like running into Tob with, pretty crap gear. And getting the clear, that's always good fun. Obviously, I play with, when I raid on those sort of gear setups, I always raid with people that are sort of like Scythe and Torva and know what they're doing. So, there is an element of being carried there. But I suppose not dying in Tob is an achievement in itself when you're running in with cheesy potatoes and that sort of thing.
For sure. Because that's a question I've kind of asked myself with this iron is like, obviously, yeah, I mean, Tob is like this huge, like kind of cornerstone of PVM, and it's, it's kind of bragging rights. But I have asked myself, like, I mean, obviously Scythe, obviously an Avertic, but it's like, as far as what's my best like path, I do question if that's even something I want to be doing anytime soon, is obviously completely apart from the fun side of it. But it's like, I look at like the log for Chambers of Xeric and the log for Tombs of Amasket, and it's like, man, it really seems like those rewards would be much more helpful earlier on in my account.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of what you're comfortable with, really. Because if you know you can do the content, then you can just like flip backwards and forwards between the raids, really, can't you? You don't have to have any particular decent gear or anything like that, as long as you can stay alive through it.
That sounds like something that someone who's actually good at the game would say, for sure. Definitely. That's awesome. Okay, so once again, I feel like I'm going to start adding this disclaimer to any of these podcasts we've been doing, but I do promise this will not be the only Iron Man podcast, but it is definitely the thing I'm kind of focusing on these days right now. But so then we have the Ultimate Iron Man, and I'm guessing that's going to be kind of the same story, just a even harder challenge.
Absolutely, yeah.
So does that come in a time of like burnout for you on the iron? Was there like, did you hit a milestone of 100 raids dry and you were just fed up with it, or were you on a really long AFK grind?
Yeah, I can't exactly remember. I've got a feeling it was one of the UIMs in the clan. I can't remember who it was now. And I saw them get a drop, and everyone absolutely lost it. And I thought, God, yeah, imagine getting that drop on a UIM. Like, what do you even do with it? And this UIM just said that they were going to drop it, like, because they've only got a certain amount of inventory spaces, as well as it's a good item. Like, it's just not worth that one inventory space. And yeah, it just got me thinking, like, how interesting the game mode was, and a bit like what you were saying with the Iron Man. There are so many different routes of progression. Like, which one do you take? With a UIM, that's just so much more of a complicated question, and that's just sort of the stuff I really enjoy and what I live for.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same, like with Iron Man. Even like, I feel like a lot of the fun, I know Dills has talked a lot about how it's the I'm blanking on the word, but like the planning of it, like almost the not even in-game time, like being at work thinking like, okay, I should do this content, and then that'll allow me to get into this content, and like strategizing and stuff, where obviously on a main account, you can kind of, it's a lot easier to kind of skip grinds or take different routes and stuff. But It is, and I once again, I think that's probably goes up exponentially on a UIM. Okay, so I guess this is the part of the podcast where I see if you can talk me into UIM, because man, I struggle so much with it because like, well, I've described this before, but like it really what it boils down to me for UIM, the thing that holds me back is the idea that kind of what you're saying, like getting a big drop and having to, drop it on the ground, like kind of the idea that maybe progress isn't permanent in a sense.
Okay.
What would you say to that?
Yeah, I'd sort of agree with you. Maybe in a way, progress isn't permanent, but I think even if you do get a big drop and you drop it on the ground, or you have to, so like for example, when I got my my enhanced seed, I had to decide whether I was going to turn it into a boffer or a blade. And I went for the blade just because I knew that I was going to camp top until I got a scythe, which is, quite an outrageous thing to do, like just sit at top for 1,000 KC or whatever. But I knew by doing that, I was wasting 2,000 shards because I corrupted it. And I was going to have to go back, and that added on, an extra however many 100 CG kills, to revert it back and corrupt it as a bow. And I suppose adding on those kills feels a bit like regression, because you're putting on more time to your account until you hit your eventual goal. But yeah, I just sort of just constantly see it as stepping forward, really. And is it any different than, when you've got your Iron Man account and you get like you get a drop that you're not really gonna use, and you just chuck it in your bank until it just sits there and it's never taken out. Either way, you're not going to use them no matter what account you're playing.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, and I guess the only thing would be like if we've seen so much with the rebalancing and stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of UIMs who had Elder Malls that they dropped at some point.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Have you had anything like that where, with all the rebalances, things you wish you could have back?
No, I don't think I've been sort of playing long enough on the UIM to hit that point. Any of my decent gear was still really relevant at the point. Like my Dragon Warhammer, I've had 2 on the account because I've wiped the account, and I got spooned both of them. So it's not like that grind was pointless because I should have just gone for the Elder Maul. But yeah, I guess it would be pretty frustrating if you were to drop an item that then gets buffed. That would be really crap.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's so funny to me about RuneScape players is they buff the Elder Maul, and all these people are like, "Yeah, the Dragon Warhammer is trash now." It's like, well, it still does the exact same thing as it did.
Yeah,
it's still useful.
I guess we're just so focused on efficiency, aren't we? That it's all about what's the best thing.
Oh yeah, well, and I think it's a real problem how many people just, if it moves up one slot on the wiki, they think that they can't do the content if they don't have that extra, they don't have what's at the top of that. But so what are the biggest achievements you've gotten on your UIM? So obviously you've gotten enhanced crystal seed. Have you gotten any of the mega rares?
I'll state now that my account is currently I wiped a couple of weeks ago.
Well, yeah. Let's go into that. So I'm so interested in this story. So give us the whole wiping story.
So I was bagging in the wildy, because.
Well, sorry. Let me interrupt you real quick. Could you, to the layman, not me, of course I understand, but to people who don't understand, Could you explain the whole UIM death storage?
Yeah, so with a UIM, a lot of UIMs will carry around looting bags because it's an extra 28 spaces that you can go into the wilderness or in Ferrex Enclave for a safe area to bag, and you can put your stuff in the looting bag, and it basically keeps it safe in there. And when you kill yourself in game, all of that stuff will drop to the floor. So you sort of got extra spaces to play around with. And if you know you don't need an item for a while, you can just put it in your looting bag and then get it out for later use. And with the UIM death storage, you can, similar to a main, you can die in die in an activity like Theatre of Blood or Zora or Hespori, and all of your stuff will go into that storage, and then you can go back and buy it out. But some UIMs will use that as a way to have an empty inventory space with all of their stuff still in Hespori, and then they'll go and do the content they'll do, go and do farm runs, go and do whatever, and then buy it back later. But the problem with the death storage is if you die again with all of your stuff in storage, you lose it entirely.
Yeah, so when you do a death pile, you're kind of being a temporary hardcore Iron Man.
Yeah,
so for your items.
with the death storage, yes. With the death pile, it's when you die and
those are different things.
Yeah. So your death storage is all of your stuff in Hespori. Your death pile is when you die. You'll see people in Edgeville picking the stinging nettles to kill themselves up there, and then all of their stuff will drop to the floor for an hour. So if you want to go and do content in the wilderness, say, or you've got a clue scroll that you want to do in the wilderness, if you put all of your stuff in Hespori and you get PK'd, you'll obviously lose it all. But if you death pile at Edgeville or wherever you do it, all of your stuff will stay on the ground. You can die again, but then your stuff is still there and you can run back and get it, but it's only there for an hour. And if you don't collect it all within that hour, it'll just disappear, as ground items do.
Oh man. Well, if the way I've been handling the recent clue scroll changes is any indication, I would be very bad at that. I've stacked up like 9 clue scrolls and then completely forgot about it, and they've all despawned.
Yeah, I've done the same.
So is there any instance where you'll do both of those things? Will you death pile and then do death storage, or do those cancel each other out?
Interesting question. I don't think so. I might be wrong. I guess maybe if you... No, I don't think you would, because I think you death pile is a way to keep your stuff safe for an hour whilst you go and do dangerous content. Or if you want to get stuff out your looting bag, of course. But you'll only keep your stuff in Hespori or any death storage if you know your account's definitely not going to die and you're going to be 100% safe.
So is the the rules for that, is that kind of, does it, as far as the losing your items from the death coffer, is that kind of play along the same rules as hardcore Iron Man, like the same, like safe content versus dangerous content would make you wipe?
Yes, I think so. So I guess
Okay.
I might be wrong. This might be something that you wanna double check before risking all your stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can go and do safe content whilst all of your stuff's in Hespori. But if you go and do TOB or CG or anything like that, you'll lose your stuff. On the the UIM Discord, it's always interesting looking at the UIM mistakes people make from wiping their accounts. And a lot of people do it some people do it from just doing like a quick CG run between farm runs, not realizing that it's dangerous content and all of their stuff is at risk in Hespori.
Yeah, the CG one's got to hurt even more because obviously you're saying it's for a farm run, but hypothetically you don't even have to empty your inventory to do CG. So that's got to sting.
Yeah.
So is kind of TOB the most common cause of wipes in the community?
No, I think when you die at Tob, all your stuff will go to the storage and you'll collect it up straight away. I don't think anyone really does Tob, risking their stuff in another death storage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, normally people wipe just from forgetting their things are in death storage, and then they'll go and do dangerous content and wipe it, or do what I did and bag in the wildy and get killed by another player. And of course, UIMs, when they die, you don't keep anything. So if you get PK'd,
okay.
you just get nothing.
So you went into the wilderness with all of your items just so you could put them into the looting bag?
Yes, I did. Even though Ferrex's Enclave is a safe area where you can put things in your looting bag. But because I was running so much Tob, I only go in there with cheesy potatoes, and obviously you buy brews in there. So I used to finish Tob profiting sort of 2 or 3 brews. I'd run to decant them into 1 doses and then put them in my looting bag and then go back to Tob. So and I don't have the Ferrex's Enclave teleport in my player-owned house to teleport up there. And a lot of the time I was also raiding with people that sort of wanted to run 5 or 6 raids pretty close together. So I didn't want to take too long messing around with my bag. But yeah.
Man, that is that. So what was the clan broadcast? How much was the loss?
Something like 350 mil maybe.
That's rough. So what was the first thing that went through your mind after the fuck?
I was sort of okay with it. I don't know why, considering after losing my stuff, you'd have thought I'd be absolutely devastated. But no, I wasn't too annoyed with it. So I only lost 3 real items. So I lost my Berserker Ring and Fury and Black Mask and stuff like that. But I've already got them back, and they were quite quick and easy to get back. But I did lose my Dragon Warhammer, my blade, and my Sang staff that I got from Tob.
Oh.
But it's sort of not,
I remember when you got that.
Yeah, it's sort of not too bad because, number one, I love Tob, so I'm going to be smashing it once my account's ready for it. So I'll get a Sang staff back, and Trident and Sang, it's not much different considering I don't use magic at Tob very much. My Dragon Warhammer, as I said, I've had 2 in 300 KC or something, so it's not like I really had to grind for it. And
so the blade was probably the biggest loss then.
Yeah, the enhanced seed was probably the biggest loss. But
have you gone back to CG?
No, I haven't yet. I'm waiting to get everything else back, and then I'll put all of my stuff in a looting bag, and then I'll have a pretty empty inventory to just smash it out. Just spend a weekend doing loads and loads of CG and hopefully get the seed.
Still something that gives me makes my stomach turn thinking about having to do that on my Iron Man. But I think if I can, I just got to get past that. I mean, it's funny because people in the clan all the time are saying, "Oh, I hate this content. I hate this content." Zulrah, my first Cerberus. I'm struggling with it, and I tell them, "Oh man, you just got to kind of get past the hump. Once it clicks for you, you're gonna love it and stuff like that." But I need to tell myself that when it comes to CG, because it is
definitely. Do you do you struggle with the content, or is it just how long it takes to get the drop?
I think I've done on my main, I think somewhere between 30 and 50 normal, and I've done 3 to 5 corrupted.
Okay.
And I definitely haven't gotten the prep to feel and I know that it's different every time, so it will never feel kind of routine, but I definitely haven't gotten okay, I need to get this amount of resources. I haven't landed on exactly what like, it's probably a very classic problem people have with CG is I want a higher tier of armor, but I'm not getting prepped in enough time.
Do you go for T2 armor?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I have.
Something I was back when I first started doing CG, and I was really struggling with it. I was always told just to do T1 and just to sort of get used to that. And then you've got like plenty of time to run around and get like as much fish as you like. And as well as it was like a little bit of a struggle getting used to taking that extra damage. I definitely recommend it to anybody else. I might be wrong in this. I'm not a master of CG by any means. But yeah, T1's definitely the way to go for me.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, partially just because I would rather be struggling with the boss fight than the prep, because I do enjoy the PVM side of it, and that is a very unique fight. It's not, the fight isn't the worst in the world. Obviously, it's difficult. I've died many times in there, and it is one of those things. I mean, just like any other content, it's when you die and you have to, you do all that prep for nothing. It does suck, but I think I talked myself out of it and convinced myself like, oh, this will be something I'll save for an Ironman someday. Kind of the same as Barrows, whereas like I know I'm gonna have to like go hard on this someday. So that was my way of talking out of it. But yeah, I don't know. And then obviously going. It's just one of those things that kind of like Dragon Warhammer, you just hear about people go ridiculously dry on it, but you know, that's the game. And it does feel like CG more than a lot of other things, specifically for Iron Man, is the type of grind where if you go dry, you'll get rich in the process.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, you'll never struggle for money after that.
This is a random question, but just as far as my Iron Man journey, what should I be spending my gold on?
I don't know really. I really don't know. I'm trying to think like what I spend my gold on. Obviously, you'll need a fair amount for construction, for turning logs into planks and stuff like that.
Do you buy a lot of your runes, or do you make the majority of them?
No, I get them all from drops really.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, because I mean I've been doing the wildy bosses since pretty early in the account, and they're
so good.
Yeah, they just drop so many things. It's like absolutely fantastic, and you can go in there with like a dragon mace and nothing else, and you're absolutely fine. So yeah, you get on my log. So I've got 30,000 death runes, 40,000 chaos runes, and 15,000 blood runes just from like killing Vetion.
Oh wow!
So yeah, that's not, and also you get your chaos runes and your lore runes from Zulrah as well. So yeah, I don't know. Right. That's a really good question.
I mean, I know you need money, and I know that like obviously you get all these alchables and stuff, but I haven't really. I mean, yeah, like you said, construction is going to take a ton of money, and that's like the one thing that I still just hate about mostly just even having just a new account in general is not having like a pimped out POH because that like I have so much muscle memory of any content I'm doing, like any boss, just the muscle memory of telling to my house so that I can hit the ornate pool and then figure out what I'm going to do next. I'm getting there. We'll get there eventually. So with the wilderness bosses, are you a soloing the multi-bosses type of person then, sounds like?
Yeah, it's pretty
awesome.
It's pretty fine because I have my main outside geared up in PK gear.
Oh, okay.
Which is really, really good. It acts as such a good deterrent from a lot of people. And if anybody does jump in, I'll just jump in with my main, freeze them, and then run away with my Iron Man. And then my main will lose like 100k or whatever. which is, yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about the freezes. Yeah, I should do that. I just have a scout. Sometimes I'll have him like scold with a Void Waker equipped just to try to deter people, like you said, but I don't think anybody really falls for it. But that's a good idea, just to have freezes. That would actually be a lot of utility with that.
Yeah, it's really handy. Yeah, that's another good reason of having like a main along with your Iron Man account, because there's so many different ways that it can help. Like even have you seen the stall method for the Dragon Warhammer?
No.
That's something to look into. So it's down in the chasm by like the chasm of fire. You can use your main to stall out one of the shamans, and then your Iron Man can just safe spot it. And it's just the most AFK way of getting a Warhammer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's something you can still do that hasn't been like patched or anything?
No, not patched at all. You see people doing it down there all the time. I've told people about this in the clan, and they've said that they get crashed all the time. But maybe it's just the time zone that I'm in. But yeah, I've done a couple of thousand KC recently, and I've not been crashed at all.
Interesting. Okay. So going back to the UIM a little bit, a couple of other questions I have as far as reasons that I'm turned away from UIM. I'm curious if you can dispel these myths or if it just kind of is what it is. So with the way that like your inventory, like obviously you kind of have to, like you're saying with the, the death piling and the coffer and stuff, you have to set yourself up for different grinds. And so you don't get to, you don't get to hop around content. You don't get to be as ADHD with your account. And you have to like commit to something, and then you just have to follow through with it. And like almost, I mean, do you like, if you set yourself to a grind, is it like, I'm going to green log Zulrah and I can't leave Zulrah until get the items you need at least. Is that definitely a part of Ultimate Iron Man, is that you can't be as ADHD?
It definitely is a part of Ultimate Iron Man. Yeah, you've got some wiggle room in the way that, like, if you're geared up for Tob, you can just sort of run around and get a few extra bits, and then you're geared up for Toa. But yeah, when it comes to doing content, yeah, you pretty much, you've got to spend 20 minutes gearing up for something, and then you've got to stay there, really, which is why having other counts are so good, because you can you can just hop across accounts, do something else, and then when you come back, you might feel motivated to carry on the content that you were doing originally.
That's it does. I can see the appeal of it for sure. That definitely is one of those. I mean, similar to the like things not being permanent, but in kind of in that same way. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I was such an Iron Man hater, and here I am like prophesying for it. So I'm sure I'll be the same way with Ultimate Iron Man on a long enough timeline, unless a different type of account comes along that's more interesting.
I'm waiting for a hardcore Ultimate Iron Man. I would be right on that.
Okay, yeah. So that's actually, I was going to ask a question about that. So do you feel, because so obviously the whole appeal of Ultimate Iron Man is like, you have no banking, and it's like 28 inventory spots hard locked. And then you hear about how Ultimate Iron Man is played with the, with the looting bag and, desk coffer and all this stuff you've mentioned. Do you feel like that's kind of, in a way, like a bastardization of what the intention of Ultimate Iron Man was?
No, not at all. I think you could sort of say that about anything, really, couldn't you? Like, I mean, people prayer flick as a way to sort of get through that, and I see that as, navigating around what prayer was originally intended to be, and like what I said with the Dragon Warhammer, like stalling things out. And you get main accounts in full justy sort of tanking demonic gorillas for Iron Men to get their Zenites. It's just loads of yes, they might be sort of manipulating how the game was originally meant to run, but all of the all of the I'm trying to think of the word now, but yeah, all of the things are there, and people use them. So yes, maybe using 28 spaces was how they originally intended UIM to be, but I don't think sort of using death storages and looting bags and things like that, I don't think that's a negative thing. I guess it just opens up those niche accounts that people put on YouTube all the time of UIM only 28 spaces.
So would that be, I mean, if they did have a hardcore Ultimate Ironman, would that be kind of that pure distillation of that? Because obviously, all those death tricks kind of go out the door.
Yeah, I suppose they do. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to take anything out of a looting bag. And you wouldn't be able to use any death storages. So yeah, you'd have your 28 spaces plus your worn equipment slots, and that would be it.
Oh
I guess you'd have your player own house and your stash units and things like that as well.
Yeah, like as you said that, I realized, oh yeah, you can't take your items out of a looting bag at a bank. Like,
not at all.
It just clicked in my head. That's so. Oh man, that's wild. I think that I do think a hardcore Ultimate Ironman would be really cool. Do you have? I mean, so kind of transitioning from Ultimate Ironman into all of your different accounts and playing them at the same time. You're kind of at least to me, known as someone who's always playing multiple accounts. As someone with that much experience in different types of accounts, is there any, besides hardcore Ultimate Ironman, are there any other account types you would like to see?
No, I don't think so. It's hard to sort of envision something that's not already in game. You're talking about sort of like the like if you had region locked accounts, but it was like an actual game mode in the game.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that because I think that I downvoted when they had the poll for all of the official account builds and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the play, but
no, I agree.
And saying that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what else. I mean, kind of, and it, I wouldn't mind if there was an official Bronze Man mode. I think that could be really appealing to a lot of people, and maybe that there doesn't need to be. Obviously, there's about 10 different plugins that can simulate that.
I think there's something special about having it as like a legitimate game mode where people see your coloured helmet and they'll know what kind of account you are. I don't know how I don't think I'd ever sort of have a niche account that like you hear about main accounts playing as Iron Men and things like that. I don't think I'd ever want to have an account that only I know the rules to, sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's I would like to see a Bronze Man. Have you heard the conversation about the hardcore Iron Man, any of that kind of stuff?
No, I haven't.
The concept is essentially it's all main accounts, but they're essentially hardcore only worlds. So everyone on the world is a hardcore. So in essence, if you see an Infernal Cape on that world, you know that's a hardcore. And if you die, you just you restart your account.
Oh, I do like the sound of that.
Yeah, that one sounds kind of fun. I've never. I think more than Ultimate Iron Man, hardcore is the least appealing thing to me. Like when I started I didn't even do the kind of the meme thing when I started my Iron Man of making it a hardcore to start. Because in my opinion, it was a lose-lose. I was either going to die really early or I wasn't going to die. And then I was going to start stressing about it.
I always, something I really love doing is looking at, whenever I see an Iron Man run across, I'll always look at their stats as a hardcore Iron Man to see how early they died. And I really love it when I see that they've got 2 strength or something and they've died because they died in a really pathetic way.
You mentioned that you've had some. How many different hardcores have you had?
I think I've had 4 different hardcores.
Well,
But
what was the furthest that you got on any of them?
I think the current Iron Man I'm playing now, I think that was the furthest I got. So I was at 1,500 total. So nothing crazy really. I think I'm just a bit too absent-minded to play these sort of game modes properly.
Yeah, oh man. Yeah, you hear about those like top level hardcore Ironmans and they're just talking about having like nightmares of dying, and
Yeah.
it sounds like exactly the opposite of the type of game I like to play.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always I always not love, because obviously it's bittersweet, but I always really enjoy seeing the Reddit posts of like the top hardcore Iron Men dying. It feels like, actual news. It's funny how much we're just like obsessed with the game.
So getting back to the multi-logging, are you the type of person that never logs on to one account at a time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd never, if I'm on my PC, I've always got 2 clients up.
That's crazy. I expected, like, I know that's a big thing, like when I was getting late into the maxing grind of like, oh, I'm going to be mining for the next 200 hours. I might as well like start an Iron Man. And I didn't do that. Like I waited until after I had maxed, because I don't know. Yeah, it's never appealed to me. Like, I guess I don't even know how you would answer this question, but like what about that appeals to you? Just no downtime?
Well, I think, like quite a few RuneScapers, I've got crippling ADHD. So
Right.
having, so much stimulation on one screen is pretty fantastic to me. And also, progressing 2 accounts at once feels good. It's nice to be slaying on one account and raiding on another account, because you just know you're making good progress.
I have very slowly started to work into that. At like last week, what was I doing? I was doing some, menial grind on my Iron Man, and I wasn't really feeling what I was watching on YouTube. And I was like, hey, I'll run a TOA on my main. And I ran a 150 just for the hell of it. And I got my second purple ever. I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm kind of like more inspired to try a little bit more of that. But yeah, as far as like, do you have a system in your mind for like, because I feel like for me, I would kind of quantify like levels of AFK-ness, and like let's say that your number is 10, and so like you want to make sure this account is doing a grind that's at a 3.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
It's a very carefully balanced machine. So if I'm if I'm like topping on one screen, I want something fairly AFK on the other screen. So I'll be like now I'm slaying on one account, which is pretty AFK. I'm just at the Bloodfelds, and doing Callisto on the other account. So it's which is quite high engagement. So yeah, as you said, sort of balancing those 2 activities out.
Which account are you doing Callisto on?
My Iron Man.
Oh, okay. So you're slaying on the UIM, you're doing Callisto on the Iron, and then you're logged into your main for your scout?
No, I'm not using my main at the moment as a scout. I'm just sort of, because I'm not risking anything now. I just need the Void Waker piece, and that's it.
Ooh, so are you 1 piece away from a Void Waker on the Iron?
No, I'm 2 pieces away, which is annoying. But I'll get there.
It is funny with the wilderness bosses. I had a moment, where it's like I haven't even done barrows yet, and I kind of had that moment. I was thinking I could get a Void Waker. Like these wilderness bosses are so doable at a low level.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm on my Iron Man. I've done 1,300 kills with all across the 3 bosses, and I've still not got a dragon pickaxe. And with my UIM, I went in, I got a 1 KC dragon pickaxe. So you've just got to be hopeful that you'll get spooned at when you really need it.
God, RNG is ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
so
funny
funny.
thing.
Yeah, I went to Calvarion. You know, same kind of ideas. Like I want a Void Waker piece or Dragon Pickaxe, and I got like a 10 KC Ring of the Gods, and it's okay, I guess. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world. My first orange loot beam on the account.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'll take it.
Yeah, that'd be good for the fire caves.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I got humbled there. It was just some random night, and I was like, I'm a gamer. I can just run in and get a fire cape real quick, and like without any of the right gear or anything. And I got to wave like it was whenever the ranger and the major are both out, and I was realizing like, oh, I'm probably like for the most part I'll have to be tanking some of this, so I can't just kind of pray my way through it. Like you can obviously if I did a little better on my safe spotting, and I could probably flick between them, but that was very humbling because I was like, oh yeah, I'm not as good as I thought I was thinking I was. I could just go get a fire cape without even thinking twice about it.
Yeah, sure. I'm looking forward to seeing Settled's 1 HP Iron Man in that cave, because I just couldn't imagine doing it with 1 HP. Like, how does that even work?
I think about that account all the time because I'll just take some random damage from just like you're saying, like nettles. Like I'll need nettles for a quest, and I'll forget to put gloves on and take damage. I think about that account every time.
Yeah, I'm terrified it's going to die, and then we're going to be left with no content. I'm really hoping he's got he's got another one that he's doing on the side, just in case this one dies, and he can carry on the legacy.
Oh man, talk about waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, literally.
Oh man. So obviously something that has been kind of blowing my mind more and more. I mean, even yesterday was blowing my mind is like Varlamorn and kind of all of the updates we've been having recently. And I know that like kind of a meme within the community is like, oh, Jagex said they would never make updates specifically for Ironman UIM kind of a thing. How do you feel about like these recent updates that, I mean, I feel like on the face of it seem to be obviously catered towards like mid-game irons? Like, do you think are you happy with that path for the game? Do you think we need more of that?
I don't know if we need more of it, but I think, I mean, you know, Iron Man is just such an integral part of the game now that, of course, when they're thinking of doing quality of life updates and changes and, you know, like new content and things like that, of course, they're going to be considering, you know, what Iron Men need and what Iron Men want. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess I'm happy with it. As somebody with Iron Man accounts, I'm pretty content with that. I need to go to Varlamore though. I've only sort of done the Colosseum and Bone Shard mining. I've not looked at anything else that it's got to offer, which is a bit silly of me.
I did a couple weeks ago. I tried out the Varlamore thieving, and I felt like it was cheating. Like I was legitimately like, should this be removed from the game? Is this easy escape? Like it was so good. Right? I couldn't believe it. I went from, because I finally got to Sepulcher, and I didn't realize that you needed 66 thieving to loot the chests, and I was like 54, and I got from 54 to 66 in one day at Varlamore thieving. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it does sound attractive. I think maybe it's just the classic thing of, you know, sticking to what I know. It's like I didn't like the idea of bone shards until I, you know, thought about looking it up and going there and trying it out. And now I absolutely love it. So,
especially, I mean, on a UIM, that's got to be the dream.
It's nice, really, really nice.
Because it's hardcores that do the ectofunctus. So what's the prayer training method for UIM? Do you death pile and do wilderness?
I can imagine like later on when you start getting noted bones from Slayer drops and things like that, then yeah, death piling and going to the altar would probably be a good shout. I've done 99% of my prayer, so I'm 84 prayer now, and I've pretty much done it all through pest control. And I quite like pest control for prayer training. But yeah, I guess just a mix of that, carrying around a bone crusher with you. Maybe some UIMs use the ectofunctus. But I can imagine if you've got bones, you'd probably just death pile and take them into the wieldy altar.
Interesting. Yeah, you could probably talk for hours about all the wild and weird training methods you do on a UIM. But what was the probably, like, what would you say is the thing that kind of blew your mind the most, of like the most outside the box thinking training method that you learned as a UIM specifically?
It's probably got to be the when I was watching UIM Loki doing the how he made his potions. So you'll see them at the Grand Exchange. You'll have your herbs, you'll have your unfinished vials that you've made in the desert, and your secondaries, and you'll sort of like unnote the vials at the bank, run into the middle, or you'll unnote your vials and then drop a load of them, and then unnote your secondaries, make them into finished potions, and then go and decant them into 1 doses. So they just take up 1 inventory space. It's really weird to explain. You've got to look it up to really appreciate how cool it is. And it's pretty out of the box. And whenever I do it, it makes me feel like a true UIM.
Yeah, that's really smart, doing the 1 doses.
Yeah, it's really great. You'll see, either 1 doses or 2 doses. People go for 2 dose just to make decanting quicker. But if you do that, then at the end of each time you use your potions, there's 50% chance you'll waste a 1 dose. So I guess it's whether you want efficiency or to keep all of your potions that you worked very hard for.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's so, like, obviously with Iron Man, kind of all the buyable skills are the ones that are much more difficult than on a main for obvious reasons. But going from Iron Man to UIM, what are the skills that are exponentially more difficult? Is it just the Bibles are even more annoying?
No, I guess it's just how much space you've got for things. I think everything's just like a lot slower. So, it's like, when you're wood cutting, you can't just run to the bank and chuck all your logs in the bank, ready to be fletched or burnt later. You've got to craft them, or you've got to fletch them or drop them there. Going back to the out of the box training method, the charter ship crafting, that's really cool as well. Sort of, you'll go there with super glass make and a glass blowing pipe in your inventory, and you'll just hop between worlds buying 10, I can't remember what it is now, 10 buckets of sand and 10 soda ash. Use super glass make and then blow them and then drop them. And you'll just do that for 10 hours straight.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess I've been doing kind of the Iron Man version of that, when you're just buying them and banking them. But the charter ships is very nice. That's pre-super glass make. That's a big goal in my account, is the super glass make. It seems to be kind of the only way to do crafting.
It is really, really, really nice. It's nice when you like when you go and mine loads of sandstone and you've got loads of giant seaweed from farming, and you've just got so much crafting XP there ready to be made into molten glass and then blown.
Yeah, I mean, not to keep going back to that thing with the Ultimate Iron Man, that feeling of banked XP, especially like banked AFK grinds, that's one of my favorite feelings in the game. Just knowing like I have this in my back pocket, and I guess you don't have that as much with a UIM.
I disagree. I think you have it even more, because when you've been farming for you've been farming for a month, all of your seeds, you've got all of your herbs in your looting bag ready to be made into potions. And then you literally have, 1,000,000 herb lore XP in your back pocket. I suppose you don't have it quite as much with other things, but I guess if you've also been mining stars as well, and you've got all of your stardust, you know that's going to be made into several hundreds of thousands worth of crafting XP from buying gems.
So have you made any, like, obviously apart from the wipe and everything, have you made any big mistakes as far as like the ordering of things? Like, have you filled up an inventory of something and then realized you did it in the wrong order and had to drop all of them?
I think I definitely flip backwards and forwards between content more than a UIM should. I suppose maybe that's my biggest loss, is just time, from where I've just been running around and trying to get all of my setup how it should be. But no, as far as like the content I do and the gear that I have, no, I don't think I have. I've never dropped anything that I've thought I really need, which is good. I think anything that I've dropped, like when I was doing my top grind, every slot in my looting bag had to be from rewards that I get from Tob, because otherwise I'd end up dropping them each time. And I guess then I had to drop. I don't even know what I had to drop, but I had to drop stuff that maybe I wanted to keep, but I'd be able to get them back pretty quickly, or they were just like, 50 tourstools that I'm not going to use for absolutely ages, that I got from a drop from a wildy boss. So yeah, just that sort of thing, really.
Man, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, here's what it is for that game mode.
Yeah, no, I think probably that is a huge part of it, is like when you look at it from, like, if I look at it from my perspective of like comparing my account to your account, it's like I would never want to do that on my account. But I think that probably is, like, for you, it's when you click log in and knowing you're logging into a UIM, like you're kind of accepting those, it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. And I guess it makes it better knowing that, I've also got an Iron Man here that, I can go out and I can get that drop on my Iron Man account, and then I can put it into my bank.
Yeah. Oh, so do you? Oh wait, no, you're an Iron. You can't pick up your drops. Do you drop when you have big drops from your UIM? Do you give them to your main, or do you just let them despawn?
Depends how much they are. I think if it's over 1,000,000, I might log in my main, but otherwise I just go to. I feel bad going to the GE and dropping things, because there are loads of looting bots around, and I hate giving them my money. I need to find a place where, like, maybe there are some newbier accounts around that would really appreciate like 300, 400k drop.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think that, going back to the updates a little bit, is there any updates in the context of all of your different accounts, are there any like minor or major updates that you would like to see for quality of life or content for your different accounts?
I tell you what, I would really like to be changed is the new, when you get a Slayer task, and the second option down is to cancel tasks for 30 points. The amount of times I accidentally click that, and there's no like, are you sure you want to cancel it? No, they just cancel it straight away. That is something I would like changed, because that gets me more often than I'd like to admit.
I feel like there are a lot of things in this game where, like, they do quality of life, but it's just so ingrained in the muscle memory from us who've been playing for so long that it's like, why did you even change that? Yeah. Like, I almost feel that way about the prayer reordering. Like, I'm pretty sure every single PKer didn't reorder their prayers because it's just so much muscle memory that they've been drilling in for years.
For sure.
That Slayer one, every single skip I still, cancel out and then go to the right click the assignment or the rewards and do it the old fashioned way because it's just I don't even think about it. It's just muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Aside from that, now I think I've been really happy with the sort of updates the Jagex have brought out, and I'm really looking forward to sort of seeing what they do next. Really.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does feel weird, like how different the early, like the progression is now. Like it's, and I guess it's probably, playing this game since old school came out, it probably is that feeling is probably persisted because, it probably felt weird when it was like, oh, go straight to Wintertodd, or back when, Zulrah was insane, every drop in the game came from Zulrah. But it does feel weird now to be like, go straight to Varlamore, hunter rumors straight from Tutorial Island and stuff like that. But it's so good though. Like it's fun and engaging, and I can't hate it. Like even my like RuneScape boomer brain tries to hate it, and I can't because it's a just overall improvement. I would love to see older content get brought up to that level so it feels just as good. But I can't even say that because I'm literally at Trouble Brewing right now, which is wild. I'm at Trouble Brewing in 2024.
Why are you there?
Because it's cooking and fletching XP.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
it's
that.
Like I think it's like 150K an hour from both of them.
Wow, that is.
It's really good.
Maybe I need to get there. Is it?
Yeah.
How much engagement is it?
It's essentially the same as Wintertodd. You just go out and you chop trees and then you fletch them while you run to like a barrel, and then you just like Chaos Altar you can use them really fast, or you can, kind of the same as other skills. You can one tick them, or you can let it auto do it. But yeah, in the time we've been talking, I've gone from 66 to 69 cooking and 60 to 63 fletching.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe I might head there.
It's because I got on this morning and I have like kind of, the goals I've been working towards. And somebody in the clan yesterday was talking about how good the new there's another, what is that? 64 fletching. But yeah, somebody was talking about how good that the sunlight antelope crossbow, I think, how good that is. It's like better than an RCB or an MSB. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And then I think you need 74 fletching to make it.
Okay.
And I'm at 66 I was at 66 cooking. And I wanted to get 70 for, recipe for disaster. So I was like, okay, what could I do that I can get? I could do some cooking, or I could do some fletching. And then I remembered that people were saying that Trouble Brewing did both of those. And all right. So I went and tried it out, and yeah, the levels are just flying by. It's crazy.
That's really cool. They've got some great Fashionscape rewards from Trouble Brewing as well, don't they?
Oh, and yeah, there's like a million log slots there.
Yeah. I think my favorite one comes from that is the stuff. It's always fun to see somebody getting the stuff as their collection log.
I don't even know. Do you know what that does? I have no idea.
Let's have a look. You use it when making ales, apparently.
That is a part of Iron Man that I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm assuming at some point it's going to become relevant.
Oh, not really. There's one quest. It's one of my last quests on my UIM that you've got to make something. What's it called? Is it Devious Minds? No, I can't remember now. No, it's you've got to brew something, and you've got to wait a while for it to brew. I really can't be bothered doing any of that.
Yeah, I think that's is that one of the dwarf quests?
Yes,
like
it is.
Between a Rock or something.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah, that, and then I guess I probably need to get a Greenman's Ale for my fallow step at some point. But yeah, maybe it's not as.
I'm pretty sure you can buy that, can't you?
Oh, is it? Don't you need the mature one?
Oh yeah, you
I don't
might
remember.
do. Yeah.
I can't cannot remember.
Yeah, I think you
don't
do.
know,
I think you're
but
right.
yeah, just all kinds of weird and wonky grinds interacting with. That's what I mean. Because with Iron Man, I've interacted with so many different parts of the game that I've never touched as a main,
Mhm.
and I would assume as a UIM, you probably do that even more.
Yeah, you definitely do. I think having Iron Man like as a starter makes you so much better at the game because of how many new bits of content you do and how many new just sort of the mechanics you've got to learn from the different bosses and things like that. And then UIM sends that even further because you've got maybe 6 or 7 inventory slots taken up with your looting bag and your noted potions and things like that. So you've got to be really careful, like when you're doing raids and things like that. You've got to be a lot more careful with your prayer and your food because you can't, you've missed out on all of that inventory slot for the extra supplies. So yeah, you really, really perfect your gameplay when you're playing as a UIM. Otherwise, you just run out of stuff and die pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I will say, kind of wrapping this up, I will say that like it, you've definitely, I'll say you've talked me into making a UIM someday. I still, I don't enjoy the multi-logging quite as much, but I've kind of started dabbling in it, and I'm hoping that, if I get more comfortable with it, yeah, it's like you're exponentially increasing your XP. And I know that the Iron will have some big long AFK grinds coming up that maybe I'll get back on, dust off the main and get back to raiding on it and stuff. But
for sure, I think it's definitely one of those things where a bit like with Iron Man, you think if you're eventually going to start one, just start one now and chuck him cutting willow logs somewhere, ready for when you actually want to start playing the account. You don't have to mess around getting your wood cutting or your fletching up.
Yeah, make 4 or 5 accounts and get them all at rock crabs. And
Yeah,
then,
there we go.
You'll have your army ready
for sure
when you're ready to engage the army. Well, cool. Well, yeah, I thanks so much for coming on. This is super interesting. These episodes, I always, kind of like plan it out and get all nervous for it, and then you just kind of start shooting the shit about the game. And obviously, being on a podcast, I like talking about the game.
yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's been really cool to talk about it. I'm sure we've got so many more accomplished UIMs in the clan that probably have their heads in their hands from what I've been saying about the game mode. So yeah, it might be cool to hear from one of them to see just how thoughts differ about the game mode. I'm sure some people feel quite differently about it than I do. But yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Have an entire feedback episode of everybody just roasting your takes.
I'm sure it will come.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. Yeah, and I'm hoping I'm in talks with a couple other people to get more of these out. Just there's a few like just different people and just in our clan and our community that play the game in such a different way or have these really unique accomplishments, and I'm hoping to have them hear from them. And as long as people enjoy these, I hope I can keep putting these out, and obviously as long as life is kind to me. But yeah, feel good. Thanks for coming on and spending some time. I guess it's my morning, but time of your afternoon with me.
No, all good. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And I guess I don't know how to end this, but thanks for listening.